this year we brought back our sidewalk dining, which was a great addition to our restaurant. Created a fun, festive European environment, which we had during COVID. We didn't do it last year because we didn't have enough staff, but this year we brought it back and it was a great addition to the season.
So this summer was really amazing at the Shipwreck and Lifesaving Museum and for Egan Maritime in general. We hosted our first annual Maritime Day over Labor Day weekend, which was a really fun, family-friendly activity day where we invited, and we had almost about 350 different people at the museum throughout the day for free activities inside the museum, and then we had activities on the lawn with a bunch of other nonprofit partners.
The 60-year anniversary is definitely a high point for the year. And it's just been so fun to celebrate it in the store. And we've had new bags and all these installations of old pictures and needlepoint to celebrate the heritage of the store and where we came from 60 years ago.
Community is so important for us. We're open year-round, and we embrace having many community members feel that the hotel is here for them and not just for visitors. So we have many programs that we have a lot of fun with. Our Islander Stay Free program for people who live here who can either stay here or go to our Martha's Vineyard property, and we'll add in our Caribbean property at great advantageous rates for Nantucketers, which I think people really enjoy, and during the off-season gives them a great quality of life boost. We have our health club, which is open year-round with a very large following of residents, and I think that's been very positive. And our guests are very loyal who come and stay with us, who shop in town and who spend money on the island. So I think we're quite integrated together, and that's very important.
One thing I've been struck by over the years here is how many people have really long memories of celebrations at the Point Breeze or the Gordon Folger. They talk about their proms, their weddings, their anniversary celebrations, and it's just very meaningful because I think we've continued that for people. We've had so many important events, family markers, and community events here that continue to make these memories for the community. So I'm really proud of that.
I'm not a biologist, but I've become a naturalist on Nantucket. And I've learned from the conservation groups who I've written about for the newspapers. So I've learned all the conservation efforts, and I've learned a fair number of the plants and the species and the geology of the island. So I'm able to give a multi-dimensional look to the people who may not know the island really well.
The fact that we keep our doors open year-round is super important to us. It was important to my mother. It's important to the next generation as well. We feel like this island gets super quiet, and that's not fair because there are tons of people on the island, and we need to be able to keep stores open so people have somewhere to go, and people do come. We get a lot of people who come in and shop, and because we have the needlework going on as well, we have every week a stitching group that come in and come stitch with us. It's super fun. So yeah, I think that's really important about who we are.
I think something that's really interesting that we do at Egan Maritime that a lot of folks might not know about is our partnership with the public schools. So we are curriculum advisors and curriculum partners with all of the schools. And in particular, we've launched a new program at the Nantucket High School that really focuses on exposing students to their future and seeing that they can have a future in maritime studies or maritime careers.
I think it was a transitional year, very interesting. I'm curious how other businesses saw it. This was much more like the year 2019, prior to COVID. Last year was probably the busiest year I think any of us have ever seen on Nantucket. This year was not quite like that. It was a very good season, but the patterns were much more similar to the previous times, so that you have busy times and then there are lighter times, and I think it's healthier for the island, but that was a noticeable change this season. I also think that a challenge for us all is that prices have gone up significantly since COVID, and the world is reopened, and we need to provide quality experiences for guests who want to come back again. So I think we have to balance the changing patterns in the marketplace with pricing ourselves properly and being thoughtful.
This year was an adjustment year. After COVID happened, this year everything kind of seemed to settle back to normal, to the numbers that we were doing back in 2019. So it's kind of a get back to more realistic numbers and business level that we did pre-COVID.
The other trend that I'm seeing is how climate change is affecting Nantucket. And we have, I thought, a much hotter summer. And it's something that I've noticed over the last several years is that my business is becoming more of a shoulder season business.
I think, after COVID, people started going out again, and I think we saw a lot of people who were coming in the store needing a special dress for events, whether it's weddings, dinner parties, cocktail parties, definitely much more. I think people wanted to get out of their sweatpants and put on something nice and feel good about themselves. We're selling a lot more dresses than we are like jeans and sweatpants now. We started doing our own line of clothing maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And
And I would just add that, the line in the store has all stemmed from my grandmother, and my grandmother was so good at all the textures and colors and patterns and things like that. So having our own line has just been able to allow us to lean into all of that she was so good at, and just allows us to kind of continue on her talents.
Well, we always have obstacles because what is life without challenge? Long term, one of the biggest challenges is to make people feel that Nantucket is an accessible, wonderful place to come when we're competing with the entire world. We cannot rest on our laurels. We need to keep doing a better job and keep people happy.
Housing is the main problem that all businesses face on Nantucket. There isn't affordable seasonal housing for the workforce. There are a lot of projects that are happening, but we haven't seen any of them yet. So housing is the #1 issue for all businesses, particularly restaurants.
I think that important things to consider are we need to solve problems collectively as a team and not blame certain people when things aren't necessarily done right. I think that there are a lot of cars here in the summer, and there can be a lot of congestion, especially on non-beach days. And how do we alleviate that problem is something that I think is ultimately important, because the 10 weeks of summer pay the bills for the rest of the year, and we want that to be a very good experience. The price of housing, the price of product becomes more and more expensive, and we risk becoming a more exclusive destination when I think having a well-rounded destination is a very healthy thing to offer. Those would be my concerns.
Go out and explore Nantucket. There's so much to do out here, so much to see. Do the Nantucket Land Bank's Cross Island hike. Go explore that hike, walk it in stages, go get the maps. Don't expend your life on Nantucket without exploring it, without seeing it yourself.
well, I'd say my message to the community is to say thank you. Thank you for helping us keep the doors open for 60 years. And we really appreciate everybody who comes through them and makes us who we are and helps us to grow.
I would say that Nantucket's been so good to us and so welcoming and so personal. It's really made an incredible impact on Mark and me and on our family, to be honest. And I would say I'm very grateful to Nantucket for welcoming us and continuing to care about what we do here. I mean, the hotel feels like a home for us, and we hope it's that for everyone else when they come through our doors.
And I think that no matter what industry you're in, no matter what you do, taking a deep breath sometimes and remembering why we're here and why we love this island is so important.